I'm scrolling through Instagram at Charles de Gaulle Airport when I see it. A photo carousel posted 3 hours ago by my girlfriend Clara. The first image shows our apartment, my apartment technically, filled with familiar faces. Silver and blue balloons hover against the ceiling. A banner reads Happy 30th Leo in Clara's perfect calligraphy. I swipe to the next photo. There's my mother laughing with my college roommate Liam. Next slide. My co-workers huddled around the kitchen island where a 3-tiered cake sits, complete with a plastic golfer on top, a nod to my weekend hobby. Final slide. Clara addressing the crowd. Champagne flute raised, everyone's attention on her. Celebrating my wonderful boyfriend's 30th today. Wish you could be here, Leo, but we're having fun in your honor. The big 30 surprise party miss you. I check the comments. Such a sweet girlfriend. This looks amazing, Clara. Leo is a lucky guy. I stare at my phone until the screen dims, then I tap to keep it awake and stare some more. A surprise party for me, without me. The irony might be funny if I weren't so confused and hurt and angry. The gate agent announces priority boarding for my connecting flight to Paris. I'm not priority, but I stand up anyway, clutching my carry-on like it might run away. My thumb hovers over the comment section of Clara's post. What to write? Thanks for the party I wasn't invited to. Glad you're enjoying my birthday without me. What the actual F, Clara? Instead, I type thanks, having a great time in Paris. And hit send. It's technically not a lie. I will be in Paris in about 2 hours. I'm going for a conference that's been on my calendar for 8 months. Clara knows this. Everyone in that apartment knows this. So why the hell are they celebrating my birthday without me? I board the plane with a strange detachment, like I'm watching myself from across the terminal. The flight attendant smiles as she checks my boarding pass. Everything okay, sir? I nod and continue down the aisle to my seat, 14C, middle seat, perfect for my current mood. My phone buzzes with a text as I'm stuffing my bag into the overhead compartment. Clara, Leo, I can explain. Please call me. Of course she saw my comment. I silence my phone without responding and wedge myself between a businessman already asleep against the window and a woman applying her 4th layer of hand sanitizer. For the next 7 hours and 43 minutes, I'm unreachable. Maybe by then I'll understand what's happening. Or maybe I'll just order room service and get drunk in a foreign country while my girlfriend throws a party for me 3,000 miles away. Happy birthday to me. You're going to Paris in April? Clara looked up from her laptop, her reading glasses perched on the end of her nose. Even frowning, she was beautiful. Dark curls framing her face, eyes the color of espresso, a small dimple in her left cheek that appeared when she was thinking hard about something. Yeah, the international conference I told you about it months ago. I was sorting laundry on the bed, separating her delicates from my gym clothes. We'd only been living together for 6 months, but we'd already developed domestic rhythms that felt permanent. In April? She clicked through her calendar. That's your birthday weekend. I know, bad timing, but it's the biggest event in my field. Professor Davies is letting me present my research. It's a big deal. I tried not to sound defensive, but I could feel her disappointment from across the room. You can't get out of it? We were planning your birthday party. We were. This was news to me. I don't need a big party. We can do something when I get back. Clara sighed and closed her laptop. But it's your 30th, Leo. It's a milestone. I sat beside her on the couch, abandoning the laundry. I know, but this conference could mean a promotion if I impress the right people. Professor Davies hinted I could move up to project lead over Amelia. She's been there longer. She's not interested. She's going part-time after her baby comes. Clara didn't look convinced. We'd had versions of this conversation before, her questioning my priorities, me defending my career choices. She worked as an event planner, which meant she put tremendous value on celebrations and milestones. I worked in architectural engineering, which meant I spent most of my time thinking about how things could collapse if built incorrectly. Fine, she said finally, but I'm still getting you something amazing for your birthday, and we're celebrating when you get back. Properly. I kissed her forehead. Deal. Looking back, I should have noticed the calculating look in her eyes. Clara never let anything go that easily. She was planning something even then, but I was too busy feeling relieved that I'd avoided an argument to notice the storm gathering on the horizon. Paris should be experienced with someone you love. That's what everyone says, and they're probably right. Experiencing it alone after discovering your girlfriend has thrown you a surprise birthday party without you feels like a special kind of torture. The hotel is nice enough, a boutique place in the 6th arrondissement with a view of the Luxembourg Gardens. Under different circumstances, I'd be taking photos to send to Clara, planning which cafes we'd visit together someday. Instead, I'm sitting on the edge of the bed, finally reading the 14 text messages she sent since I boarded the plane. Clara, Leo, I can explain. Please call me. It's not what you think. I know you're on the plane. Call me when you land. Are you really in Paris already? Your flight wasn't supposed to land until tomorrow. Leo, please don't be angry. Just let me explain. I'm worried about you. At least let me know you're safe. This is so childish, Leo. Just call me. I'm sorry, that was unfair. I'm just worried. Your mom is asking about you. Liam says to call him if you don't want to talk to me. I love you. Please call. I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm going to keep texting until you respond. I tossed the phone onto the bed. It's just past midnight in Paris, which means it's about 6 p.m. back home. The party is probably still going. Are they talking about me? Laughing about my Instagram comment? Is Clara showing them her desperate texts that I'm ignoring? I should call her. That would be the mature thing to do. Instead, I open my laptop and log into Facebook. There are more photos of the party appearing now. Liam has posted a few, and so has my coworker Chloe. I click through them methodically, studying the details like I'm analyzing blueprints. The decorations are elaborate. Clara's touch is obvious in the cohesive color scheme and thoughtful details. There's a table of what appears to be my favorite foods, sliders from that gastropub downtown, those spicy chicken skewers from the Thai place on 7th, a cheese and charcuterie board arranged in the shape of a golf course. Even from a photo, I can tell the bourbon being poured is the expensive kind I save for special occasions. The cake has my face on it, a photo from last summer when we went to Cabo, me grinning in sunglasses with a margarita in hand. Everyone is dressed nicely, cocktail attire, which means this was planned well in advance. My mother is there in her pearl earrings that only come out for important events. My sister Sophie, who lives in Seattle and rarely visits, is in several photos with her husband. My college friends, local friends, work friends, everyone important in my life is in that apartment. Everyone except me. A notification pops up, a direct message from Liam. Dude, call your girlfriend. She's freaking out. I close the laptop and walk to the window. Paris glitters beyond the glass, the Eiffel Tower visible in the distance, illuminated against the night sky. I've dreamed of seeing this view for years. It's beautiful, and I hate it. My phone buzzes again, a new text from Clara. I'm booking a flight to Paris. That gets my attention. I pick up the phone and call her. She answers on the first ring. Leo, thank God. Are you okay? Don't come to Paris. My voice sounds strange, flat, and distant. Leo, I need to explain. Then explain. Why did you throw me a birthday party when you knew I wouldn't be there? There's a pause, and I hear her take a deep breath. Because you were supposed to be there. It was meant to be a surprise. The conference was a setup. What? There is no conference. Or there is, but you weren't registered for it. You were supposed to think you were going to Paris, but the tickets were fake. We were going to discover the mistake this morning, and you'd be upset, and then I'd tell you to come home, and everyone would be waiting to surprise you. I sit down heavily on the bed as her words sink in. You faked a conference invitation? Professor Davies helped? And Liam? It was supposed to be this elaborate surprise, but then you somehow got on an earlier flight, and I didn't get on an earlier flight, Clara. My flight was always scheduled for today. The conference starts tomorrow. Silence on the line. Clara, no, that's not. Liam said your flight was tomorrow evening. He saw your itinerary. Liam saw a draft itinerary from months ago. I changed it when the airline adjusted their schedule. But I checked your calendar. My work calendar or my personal calendar. Another pause. Your personal Google Calendar. I don't put my flights on that calendar. They're in my work Outlook. I hear her breathing change, a slight hitch that means she's trying not to cry. Under normal circumstances, I would say something reassuring now. But these aren't normal circumstances. You're actually in Paris? She says finally. For the real conference, yes. And everyone is here at a surprise party for you. But you're not coming home because you're actually at the conference that I thought was fake, but is real. That about sums it up. Leo, I'm so sorry. This is a disaster. Part of me wants to agree with her, to unleash the hurt and confusion I've been feeling. But something about the absurdity of the situation hits me, and a strange sound escapes me, something between a laugh and a sigh. It is a disaster, I say, but it's also the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. You're laughing? Her voice rises in pitch. I'm not sure what I'm doing. And I'm not. I'm exhausted from travel, emotional whiplash, and the surreal knowledge that my girlfriend orchestrated an elaborate fake conference scheme that backfired spectacularly. I was trying to do something special, she says, her voice small. By lying to me for months? When you put it that way, how else should I put it, Clara? She's quiet for a moment. I don't know. I wanted your 30th to be memorable. Well, mission accomplished. Are you? Are you coming home? The question hangs between us. Am I? Should I abandon the conference I've been preparing for, the presentation that could advance my career, to return to a surprise party planned under false pretenses? No, I say finally. I'm not. I have a presentation the day after tomorrow that I've been working on for months. A real presentation at a real conference. I understand, she says, but her voice suggests otherwise. Enjoy the party, I say, and immediately regret the petty tone. Leo, I need to go, I cut her off. It's late here, and I'm jet-lagged. We can talk tomorrow, okay? Okay, she says softly. I love you. I pause, the words caught in my throat. Good night, Clara. I end the call and toss the phone aside again. Then I lie back on the bed, still fully clothed, and stare at the ceiling until the edges of the room begin to blur. The Palais de Congrès is imposing in a distinctly French way, grand without being gaudy, historic yet functional. I arrive early, my presentation materials reviewed so many times I could recite them in my sleep, which is fortunate because sleep eluded me last night. After tossing and turning until 3 a.m., I gave up and went for a walk. Paris at night is eerily beautiful, the streets slick with recent rain, the buildings illuminated just enough to highlight their architectural details. I walked until my feet hurt, then found an all-night cafe where I drank espresso and tried to sort through my thoughts. By morning, I'd reached no conclusions other than I needed a shower and fresh clothes. Now, coffee in hand, my fourth of the day, I wander through the conference center, collecting my badge and program materials mechanically. The event is exactly as expected. Hundreds of architectural engineers and designers from around the world gathering to discuss innovations and challenges in the field. It's what I've been looking forward to for months, and I feel nothing. Liu-chan, a voice breaks through my fog. I thought that was you. I turned to see Anya Patel, a former colleague who moved to London 2 years ago. She's smiling broadly, looking polished in a navy suit with her dark hair pulled back in a sleek ponytail. Anya, hey. I manage a smile. Good to see you. You too. Are you presenting? I saw your name in the program tomorrow afternoon. Seismic considerations and cantilevered structures. Sounds fascinating, she says, and she actually seems to mean it. A few of us are having dinner tonight at a place near the Bastille. You should join us. My first instinct is to decline. I'm not in the mood for socializing. But the alternative is sitting alone in my hotel room, scrolling through more party photos and overthinking my relationship. Sure, I hear myself say, that would be nice. Great. Give me your number, and I'll text you the details. We exchange contact information, and Anya excuses herself to attend one of the morning sessions. I check the program and select a lecture on sustainable materials that might be relevant to my current project. As I find a seat in the back of the presentation room, my phone buzzes. Another text from Clara. Everyone's gone home. The apartment is too quiet. I miss you. I turn off my phone and focus on the presenter, a Swedish architect discussing the carbon footprint of traditional concrete versus newer composite materials. I take notes diligently, asking questions during the QA portion, and for brief moments, I manage to forget about the party, about Clara, about everything except beam strength coefficients and environmental impact assessments. But in the quiet moments between sessions, it all comes rushing back. My girlfriend planned an elaborate ruse to surprise me for my birthday. She involved my friends, my family, and my boss in a months-long deception, all for a celebration I didn't ask for and wouldn't have wanted. Why does that make me so angry? It's not about the party itself. I've never been big on birthdays, but I'm not opposed to celebrating. It's not even about the lie, though that's certainly part of it. I think what bothers me most is the presumption, the certainty that she knew what was best for me better than I knew myself. The willingness to interfere with my career plans for the sake of a party. What does that say about how she sees me, about how she values what I value? By the time I meet Anya and her colleagues for dinner, I've worked myself into a quiet fury that I'm barely containing. I order wine as soon as we sit down, then a second glass before the appetizers arrive. Rough day? Anya asks quietly while the others debate the merits of parametric design. Rough birthday, I reply without thinking. Her eyebrows rise. It's your birthday? We should order champagne. No, not today. Tomorrow. And I'd rather not make a thing of it. She studies me for a moment, then nods. Fair enough. But I'm still ordering dessert and making you eat some of it. The dinner is surprisingly pleasant. Anya's colleagues, two Brits, a German, and a Brazilian, are intelligent and funny, the conversation flowing easily between professional topics and personal anecdotes. The food is excellent, the wine even better. By the time we finish dessert, a chocolate souffle that Anya insisted we all share, I'm feeling almost human again. There's a cocktail bar near here that's supposed to be amazing, says Oliver, one of the British architects. Anyone up for a nightcap? Everyone except the German agrees, and we walk the few blocks to a sleek, dimly lit establishment where the bartenders wear suspenders and mix drinks with the serious concentration of scientists. I end up next to Anya at a high-top table, nursing a bourbon that costs more than I want to admit. So, she says, are you going to tell me why you're really in a bad mood? Or should we keep pretending it's just conference fatigue? I look at her, surprised. We were never particularly close when we worked together, friendly colleagues rather than friends. But there's something about her direct gaze that invites confidences. My girlfriend threw me a surprise birthday party, I say. And I found out about it when she posted photos on Instagram while I was at the airport on my way here. Anya's eyes widened. Wait, she threw you a party while you were out of the country? Apparently, it was supposed to be a real surprise. She and my friends concocted this whole scheme where they made me think I was coming to this conference. But the tickets were fake, and I'd discover the mistake and have to come home where everyone would be waiting to surprise me. That's elaborate. It's intrusive and controlling is what it is, I say, the edge in my voice surprising even me. She was going to sabotage my career opportunity for the sake of a party. Anya sips her drink thoughtfully. But something went wrong with the plan? She thought my flight was tomorrow. It wasn't. So I'm here at the real conference, and she's there with all our friends at a surprise party for me, without me. A smile tugs at the corner of Anya's mouth. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but that's ridiculous. Yeah, I know. What did you do when you found out? I left a passive-aggressive comment on her Instagram post, ignored her text for 7 hours while I was on the plane, then had a fight over the phone when I got to the hotel. Very mature, she says, but she's grinning now. I'm not proud of it. I finished my bourbon. I just don't understand why she did this. Have you asked her? She says she wanted my birthday to be special. And you don't believe her? I stare at the empty glass. I believe that's what she thinks her motivation was. But I think she's always had a problem with my career. She thinks I work too much, that I prioritize it over her. This feels like her way of making a point, showing me what I'm missing by being dedicated to my job. Anya considers this. Or maybe she just genuinely wanted to do something nice, and it backfired spectacularly. You don't know Clara? True. But I know a bit about relationships, and sometimes a party is just a party. I signal the bartender for another drink. Even if that's true, she lied to me for months. She got my boss involved in deceiving me. My family flew in from across the country under false pretenses, all for a surprise that didn't happen. Exactly. So what are you going to do? The question hangs between us. What am I going to do? Go home after the conference and pretend everything's fine? End a 2-year relationship over a misguided surprise party? Something in between? I don't know, I admit. Right now, I'm focusing on not bombing my presentation tomorrow. Good plan, she says, raising her glass to compartmentalization, the architect's best friend. I clink my fresh bourbon against her gin cocktail. I'll drink to that. I wake on the morning of my 30th birthday with a mild hangover and 17 new text messages. 16 are from Clara, variations on apologies, declarations of love, and increasingly worried inquiries about my welfare. One is from Anya, wishing me luck on my presentation and offering to meet for coffee beforehand. I respond to Anya with a quick thanks and a suggestion for a cafe near the conference center. Then I stare at Clara's messages, thumbs hovering over the keyboard. What do I want to say? What do I want from her? In the clear light of morning. Well, clearish, given the hangover. My anger has subsided into a dull ache of disappointment. Not just in Clara, but in myself. In the gap between what I thought we had and what this situation reveals. I type, I'm fine. Presentation is today. We'll call tonight. Her response is immediate. Happy birthday, love. I'm so sorry about everything. Good luck today, you'll be amazing. Followed by we saved you cake. Despite everything, this makes me smile. It's such an Clara thing to say, practical and sweet at the same time. I can picture her carefully wrapping a slice of my birthday cake, putting it in the freezer for when I return. If I return, the thought catches me off guard. Is that actually in question? I push it aside and get ready for the day, showering and dressing in my presentation outfit. A charcoal suit with a blue shirt that Clara says brings out my eyes. I check out of the hotel. I'm moving to a cheaper place for the last 2 nights of my stay, and head to meet Anya. The cafe is bustling with morning commuters and tourists, but we find a small table near the window. Anya looks fresh and alert, which I find mildly annoying given how much we all drank last night. Happy birthday, she says, sliding a small paper bag across the table. It's nothing fancy, just a little birthday survival kit. Inside, I find 2 aspirin, a tiny bottle of high-end eye drops, a luxury chocolate bar, and a miniature bottle of French cologne. The eye drops and aspirin are for now, she explains. The chocolate is for after your presentation, when your blood sugar crashes. And the cologne is because the conference rooms get stuffy and you'll want to freshen up. I'm touched by the thoughtfulness of the gift. Practical, unpretentious, and exactly what I need. Thank you, I say. This is perfect. I'm good at presents, she says with a modest shrug. One of my useless talents. We chat over coffee and croissants, carefully avoiding the topic of Clara. Anya tells me about a challenging project she's working on in London, a renovation of a historic building with strict preservation requirements but modern sustainability goals. I share details about my presentation, and she asks intelligent questions that help me clarify a few points I'd been struggling to articulate. By the time we walk to the conference center together, I'm feeling more centered than I have since seeing that Instagram post. You've got this, Anya says as we part ways in the lobby. Text me when you're done, and I'll buy you a proper birthday drink. My presentation is scheduled for 2 p.m. in one of the smaller breakout rooms. I spend the morning attending other sessions, taking notes and asking questions, fully engaged in the professional exchange I came here for. At lunch, I find a quiet corner and turn my phone back on. More texts from Clara and one from my mother. Leo, sweetheart, call me when you can. I'm worried about you. I text her quickly. I'm fine, Mom. Just busy with the conference. We'll call soon. Then I silence my phone again and review my presentation notes one last time. The room is about 2/3 full when I begin, not bad for a relatively niche topic on the second day of the conference. I spot Anya in the back row, giving me a subtle thumbs up. Professor Davies is here too, I realize with surprise. I'd forgotten he was attending the conference legitimately, apart from his role in Clara's scheme. He nods encouragingly from his seat near the front. I take a deep breath and begin. Thank you for being here today. I'm Leo Chun, and I'll be discussing innovative approaches to seismic considerations in cantilever structures, with a particular focus on the challenges we faced in the Westridge Tower project. The words flow easily after that. This is my element, the perfect intersection of technical knowledge and creative problem solving. I walk the audience through our computational models we developed, the physical testing we conducted, and the ultimate solutions we implemented. The questions afterward are thoughtful and engaged, sparking a lively discussion that continues even after the formal session ends. Several attendees approach me afterward to exchange contact information, including a representative from a prestigious firm in Singapore who's interested in potentially adapting our methodology for a project they're planning. Well done, Professor Davies says, finally making his way to me after the crowd thins. Really excellent presentation, Leo. Thank you, I say, suddenly remembering his role in Clara's plan. My smile stiffens. He seems to read my mind. Listen, about the other thing I'd rather not discuss it here. Fair enough. But for what it's worth, your girlfriend's heart was in the right place. She just wanted to do something special for you. By lying to me? By getting you to lie to me about a career opportunity? Professor Davies looks uncomfortable. When she explained it, it seemed like a harmless prank. I didn't realize how important this conference was to you. It's an international conference where I'm presenting my research to the leaders in our field. How could that not be important? He has the grace to look ashamed. You're right. I should have considered that more carefully. I apologize. His apology takes some of the wind out of my sails. Professor Davies has been a good boss, supportive of my career, willing to give me challenging projects, generous with both criticism and praise. This lapse in judgment seems out of character. Why did you agree to it? I ask, genuinely curious. He hesitates. Honestly, Clara can be very persuasive. And she made it sound like you'd be thrilled once you got over the initial surprise. She said you'd been working too hard, that you needed a proper celebration with everyone who cares about you. And you thought sabotaging my professional development was the way to make that happen? No, of course not. He runs a hand through his thinning hair. Look, the plan was that I'd tell you on Thursday, tomorrow, that there had been a mistake with your registration, but that I'd recorded your presentation and would present the key points on your behalf. You'd be disappointed, but wouldn't miss anything career critical. Except for all the networking opportunities, the chance to answer questions about my research directly, and the credibility of presenting at an international conference. Yes, he says simply. I didn't think it through, and I'm sorry. I want to stay angry, but there's something disarming about his straightforward admission of error. I appreciate the apology, I say finally. For what it's worth, the presentation really was excellent. The Singapore group seemed very interested. They did? I acknowledge, it could be a good opportunity. An awkward silence falls between us. Happy birthday, by the way, Professor Davies says. Thanks. I should let you go. I'm sure you have plans for your birthday evening. I don't actually, but I nod anyway. See you back at the office next week. As he walks away, I check my phone. 3 missed calls from Clara and a text from Anya. How did it go? I text back. Really well. Free for that drink? Her response is immediate. Absolutely. Meet at the hotel bar at 7? I confirm and head back to collect my things from the presentation room. The adrenaline of the successful talk is wearing off, leaving me with a strange emptiness. I should be elated. My research was well received. I made potentially valuable connections. I performed well under pressure. Instead, I feel adrift. It's my 30th birthday, and I'm alone in a foreign city, disconnected from everyone I care about because of a well-intentioned but spectacularly misguided surprise party. I wander through the streets of Paris for a couple of hours, taking in the sights without really seeing them. The Louvre, Notre Dame still under reconstruction after the fire, the Seine with its tour boats and bridges. All of it beautiful, all of it hollow, without someone to share it with. Not just someone. Clara. Despite everything, I miss her. I miss her excitement about small things, her laugh that starts as a giggle and builds into something full-bodied and infectious. I miss the way she hums while cooking and talks back to reality TV shows. I miss the scent of her hair when I hold her close at night. By the time I meet Anya at the hotel bar, I've reached a decision. There's the birthday boy, she says, raising a glass as I slide onto the bar stool beside her. I ordered champagne. I know, you said no fuss, but you can't turn 30 in Paris without champagne. I smile, genuinely touched by her thoughtfulness. Thanks, Anya. The bartender pours a glass for me, and Anya raises hers in a toast. To 30. May it be your best decade yet. We clink glasses, and I take a sip of the crisp, effervescent wine. So, she says, have you decided what you're going to do about your girlfriend? I'm going home, I say. Tomorrow, after the closing session. I found an earlier flight. And then we talk. Really talk about what happened and why, and what it means for us. Anya nods slowly. That sounds sensible. But first, I need to call her. I check my watch. It's around 2 p.m. there now. I can give you some privacy. No, stay. Finish your champagne. I'll step outside for a minute. The evening air is cool as I step onto the small terrace outside the bar. A few other patrons are scattered at tables, enjoying the mild spring weather. I find a quiet corner and call Clara. She answers immediately. Leo, happy birthday. I'm so sorry about everything. Thank you, I say, my voice stiffer than I intended. And thank you for the party, even if I couldn't be there. Leo, I'm coming home tomorrow, I interrupt. I changed my flight. We need to talk about this in person. Of course, she says, relief evident in her voice. Whatever you want. I'll pick you up at the airport. No, I'll take a cab. I'll text you when I'm on my way. Okay. She pauses. Are we going to be okay? It's the question I've been asking myself all day. Are we? Can we move past this? I don't know, I tell her honestly. I hope so, but I need time to process everything. I understand. Her voice is small, and I can tell she's trying not to cry. For what it's worth, I never meant to hurt you or disrespect your career. I just wanted your 30th to be special. I know, and I do know that despite everything, Clara isn't malicious or manipulative. She's impulsive, sometimes misguided, but her intentions are almost always good. We'll talk tomorrow, okay? I love you, Leo. The words still catch in my throat. Good night, Clara. I end the call and stare out at the Paris skyline for a long moment before rejoining Anya at the bar. Everything all right? She asks. Getting there, I say, picking up my champagne. Now tell me more about this impossible project of yours in London. We spend the next hour chatting about work, architecture, travel, everything except relationships. Anya is good company, intelligent, funny, and refreshingly direct. In another life, under different circumstances, perhaps there could have been something between us. But my heart is elsewhere, tangled up with a woman who throws elaborate surprise parties and learns calligraphy just to make better birthday banners. When we say goodnight, Anya hugs me briefly. Safe travels tomorrow, and good luck with everything. Thank you for the drinks, the conversation, all of it. Anytime. And Leo, for what it's worth, I think you're making the right choice, going home, talking it out. I hope so. She smiles. She must be pretty special, this party-planning girlfriend of yours. She is, I say, surprising myself with the certainty in my voice. She really is. The closing session of the conference feels anticlimactic. I sit in the back row, half listening to the keynote speaker while my thoughts race ahead to the conversation waiting for me back home. When the applause finally signals the end, I slip out quickly, avoiding any potential encounters with Professor Davies or colleagues who might want to chat. My new flight leaves at 4 p.m., which gives me just enough time to return to my hotel, collect my luggage, and make it to Charles de Gaulle. The taxi driver, sensing my preoccupation, makes no attempt at conversation beyond confirming the destination. I stare out the window, watching Paris slide by, elegant buildings, stylish pedestrians, sidewalk cafes bustling with afternoon patrons. I should feel more regret about leaving early. This is Paris, after all, a city I've dreamed of exploring properly. But right now, the Eiffel Tower and Notre Dame and the Louvre seem like props in someone else's story. My story is elsewhere. At the airport, I navigate security and find my gate with mechanical efficiency. As boarding begins, I check my phone one last time. One new text from Clara, safe travels. I'll be here when you're ready to talk. No pressure, no demands, no overwrought declarations. Just a simple acknowledgement that the ball is in my court. It feels like a small gesture of respect, something I need right now. I board the plane and settle into my seat. An aisle this time, better than the middle seat on the way over, but still not comfortable enough for the 8-hour journey ahead. I decline the pre-flight beverage and close my eyes, hoping to sleep through as much of the flight as possible. Sleep eludes me, of course. Instead, I find myself mentally rehearsing the conversation I'll have with Clara, the accusations, the explanations, the apologies. All of it plays out in various permutations as the plane crosses the Atlantic. In some versions, I'm righteously angry, laying out in careful detail exactly how and why her actions hurt me. In others, I'm understanding and forgiving, acknowledging the good intentions behind the botched surprise. In the worst versions, things escalate into relationship-ending arguments about deeper issues. Her disrespect for my career, my emotional unavailability, are incompatible priorities. Somewhere over the ocean, the flight attendant brings dinner, a forgettable pasta dish that I eat mechanically while watching a mediocre action movie on the tiny screen. The protagonist races against time to save the world, facing impossible odds with implausible skills. It's ridiculous and oddly comforting in its simplicity. My actual problems seem both smaller and more complex by comparison. No clear villains, no easy solutions, just two imperfect people trying to navigate the messy terrain of love and respect and understanding. Would you like coffee or tea? The flight attendant's question pulls me from my thoughts. Coffee, please. Black. She pours it into a small plastic cup. Cream or sugar? No, thank you. She moves on to the next row, and I sip the bitter airline coffee, grimacing at the taste. It's nothing like the rich espresso I had in Paris, but it's caffeine, and I need to be alert for what comes next. As the plane begins its initial descent, I open the window shade to see the familiar skyline of my city appearing through wisps of cloud. Home. The sight brings a rush of emotions I wasn't prepared for. Relief, anxiety, a strange sense of homecoming even though I've only been gone for 3 days. We land with a slight bump, and the cabin fills with the sounds of seat belts unbuckling, overhead bins opening, passengers preparing for disembarkation. I follow the slow procession down the aisle and through the jetway, past customs to baggage claim, where I wait for my small suitcase to appear on the carousel. And then I'm outside, breathing in the familiar smells of home. Car exhaust, the faint salt tang from the nearby bay, the indefinable scent that distinguishes this city from all others. I join the taxi line, checking my phone. 7:43 p.m. local time, earlier than I'd told Clara to expect me. I could surprise her, showing up at our apartment unannounced. There's a certain poetic justice to the idea that appeals to me. But surprises are what got us into this mess in the first place. I text her, just landed. Taking a taxi home. See you in about 40 minutes. Her response is immediate. I'll be here. The taxi ride passes in a blur of familiar landmarks. The bridge, the park, the downtown skyline. The driver makes a few attempts at conversation, but my monosyllabic responses eventually discourage him. We ride in silence until he pulls up in front of my apartment building. Have a good evening, he says as I pay the fare. You too. I stand on the sidewalk for a moment after the taxi pulls away, looking up at the windows of our third-floor apartment. The lights are on, warm against the darkening evening sky. Clara is up there, waiting. My phone buzzes with a text from Anya. Did you land safely? I text back, just got home. Thanks for asking. Good luck with everything. She replies, adding a simple thumbs-up emoji. I take a deep breath, pick up my suitcase, and enter the building. The elevator ride to the third floor feels both too long and too short. I adjust my grip on the suitcase handle, straighten my jacket, run a hand through my travel-rumpled hair. My heart is pounding as if I've run up the stairs instead of riding in the elevator. The doors open, and I walk down the hallway to apartment 3C. My key slides into the lock, but before I can turn it, the door opens. Clara stands there, her dark curls pulled back in a loose ponytail, wearing jeans and an oversized sweater that I recognize as one of mine. She looks tired, her eyes slightly red-rimmed, as if she's been crying. Hi, she says softly. Hi. We stand there for a moment, neither of us moving, as if crossing the threshold requires a decision I'm not quite ready to make. Then she steps back, opening the door wider. Come in. You must be exhausted. I will my suitcase inside and close the door behind me. The apartment looks normal, all traces of the party cleared away, but there's a faint smell of flowers, and I notice a vase of fresh tulips on the dining table, my favorite. Can I get you anything? She asks. Water? Beer? Coffee? Are you hungry? Water would be good. She goes to the kitchen, and I set my suitcase against the wall, shrug off my jacket, slip off my shoes. These familiar actions in this familiar space help settle my nerves slightly. Clara returns with a glass of ice water and hands it to me, careful not to let our fingers touch. She's giving me space, I realize, physical and emotional. Thank you, I say, taking a sip. Do you want to sit? I nod, and we move to the living room. I take the armchair, and she perches on the edge of the sofa, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. How was your flight? She asks. Fine. And the conference? Apart from your presentation, which sounded like it went well. It was good. Informative. Some interesting networking opportunities. We're making small talk, dancing around the real issue. It feels ridiculous after I've flown thousands of miles specifically to have this conversation. Clara, I say, setting the water glass down on the coffee table. We need to talk about what happened. She nods, her shoulders tensing visibly. I know. And I want to start by saying again how sorry I am. It was a huge mistake, and I never meant for it to hurt you or interfere with your career. But that's exactly what it did, I say, the words coming out more sharply than I intended. Or what it would have done if your plan had worked the way you intended. I know. She looks down at her hands. When I explain it, it's going to sound stupid, but I promise I wasn't trying to sabotage you. Then explain it to me. Because right now, that's what it feels like. She takes a deep breath. It started when you told me about the conference being on your birthday weekend. I was disappointed, but I understood it was important to you. But then I got this idea. What if I could give you the best of both worlds? A big celebration with everyone you care about, and still let you attend your conference. So you decided to fake a conference registration problem? Not at first. Initially, I was just thinking about throwing a surprise party the weekend before or after your birthday. But then Liam mentioned that he'd played this prank on his brother once. Made him think he was going to a baseball game, but really took him to a surprise party, and it got me thinking. Liam, I repeat. Of course he'd be involved. Liam has been my best friend since college, but his idea of a good time often involves elaborate pranks and embarrassing moments captured for posterity on social media. He means well, but his judgment can be questionable. It wasn't his fault, Clara says quickly. It was my idea to adapt it for your birthday. I ran it by him, and he thought you'd find it funny once the initial shock wore off. So you two cooked up this scheme together? Not just us. I talked to Professor Davies, too, to make sure it wouldn't seriously impact your career. He said the conference happens every year, and you could always present your research next time. I feel a fresh wave of betrayal. So Professor Davies was fully on board with denying me this opportunity? No, that's not. He said you wouldn't really be missing anything crucial, and the experience would be more valuable than the actual presentation itself. That's why we came up with the plan that he'd record your presentation and deliver the key points on your behalf. And it didn't occur to either of you that I might want to make that decision for myself? That I'd been preparing for months for this specific conference, this specific presentation? Clara looks genuinely distressed. In hindsight, yes, of course it should have. But at the time, I guess I convinced myself that you'd be momentarily disappointed, but then thrilled by the surprise. And what about all the people at the party? My family, our friends? Were they all in on it too? She shakes her head. Only Liam, Professor Davies, and your mom knew the whole plan. Everyone else just thought it was a surprise party you'd be attending. Your sister figured it out, though, because of your social media post. My mother knew? This revelation hits harder than I expected. She flew across the country knowing I wouldn't actually be there. She was hesitant at first, but she said you work too hard and never take time to celebrate important milestones. She thought you needed this. I stand up, needing to move to process this new information. My own mother conspiring to derail my professional plans because she thinks I work too hard. The irony is almost too much. Let me understand this, I say, pacing the small living room. You, Liam, Professor Davies, and my mother all decided that what I really needed for my 30th birthday was to be manipulated, lied to, and prevented from attending a conference that was important to my career, so I could be surprised by a party I never asked for. Put that way, it sounds terrible. I can see Clara realizing it too, her face crumbling slightly. It sounds awful when you say it like that, she says quietly. But I promise, Leo, it wasn't about manipulating you or controlling you. It was supposed to be a loving gesture. A loving gesture that involved lying to me for months? Yes, she admits. And I see now how wrong that was. I got caught up in the excitement of planning this big surprise, convincing myself you'd love it once you got over the initial shock. I didn't stop to really think about what it meant, that I was making decisions for you, overriding what you wanted. Her candor takes some of the fight out of me. I sit back down, suddenly exhausted. Why was this party so important to you? I ask. You know I've never been big on birthday celebrations. She's quiet for a moment, considering. I think I wanted to show you something about how many people care about you. About how much I care about you. You could have done that without the elaborate deception. I know. But there was something else too. She hesitates. Lately, I felt like we've been drifting apart. You've been so focused on work, on this presentation, and I've been supportive because I know it matters to you. But sometimes it feels like you're building this whole life that I'm not really part of. That's not true, I protest. But even as I say it, I wonder if there's some truth to her words. Haven't I been throwing myself into work more than usual lately, staying late at the office, bringing work home on weekends, talking about the conference constantly? Isn't it? She challenges gently. When was the last time we did something just for fun? When was the last time you were as excited about plans with me as you were about this conference? I open my mouth to respond, then close it again. I can't immediately think of an example that would prove her wrong. I'm not saying it's all your fault, she continues. I know I've been busy too, with work and my own stuff. But I guess this party was my way of trying to pull us back together. To surround you with all the people who love you. To remind you that there's more to life than work. By sabotaging my work. That wasn't the intention, but yes, I see now that's what it would have done. She meets my gaze directly. I'm truly sorry, Leo. If I could go back and undo it all, I would. I believe her. Despite everything, I do believe she's genuinely sorry, and that her intentions, however misguided, came from a place of love. But that doesn't erase the breach of trust, the feeling that my priorities were disregarded, that the people closest to me conspired to manipulate me. I need to know something, I say after a long moment. If your plan had worked, if I'd discovered the fake conference problem and come home to the surprise party, what was supposed to happen after that? Was I just supposed to miss the conference entirely? She shakes her head. Professor Davies said he'd tell you on Monday that he'd managed to work things out with the conference organizers, and you could attend the last 2 days. You would have missed your original presentation slot, but he would have arranged for you to present on the final day instead. It wasn't ideal, but you still would have had most of the conference experience. And you really thought I'd be okay with all of this? With the lies, the manipulation, the rearranged professional plans? I hoped you would be, she says softly. Once you saw how much thought and love went into the surprise. Once you had a chance to celebrate with everyone. But clearly, I was wrong. We lapse into silence, the weight of everything that's happened hanging between us. Outside, a siren wails briefly as an emergency vehicle passes on the street below. The refrigerator hums from the kitchen. Normal, everyday sounds that feel strangely out of place in the middle of this conversation that could reshape our entire relationship. Where do we go from here? Clara finally asks. It's the question I've been turning over in my mind since I first saw that Instagram post. Where do we go from here? Can we move past this? Should we? I don't know, I admit. I'm still processing everything. Do you want me to leave? Give you some space? The question catches me off guard. Leave? I could stay with my sister for a few days if you need time to think. The thought of coming home to an empty apartment tomorrow, the day after that, it creates a hollow feeling in my chest that surprises me with its intensity. No, I say, I don't want you to leave. Relief flashes across her face. Okay, whatever you need, Leo. I want to make this right. I'm not sure it's that simple, I tell her honestly. This isn't just about a birthday party gone wrong. It's about trust, about respect, about how we communicate and make decisions. I know, and I want to work on all of that, if you're willing. Am I willing? Part of me wants to retreat into anger and hurt, to hold this betrayal against her as evidence that our relationship is fundamentally flawed. But another part remembers all the good things. The way she brings me coffee in bed on Sunday mornings, how she listens intently when I talk about work problems, the sound of her laugh when we watch comedy specials together, the feeling of her hand in mine as we walk through the park on summer evenings. I'm willing to try, I say finally. But things need to change. We need to talk, really talk about why this happened and how to make sure nothing like it happens again. She nods earnestly. Absolutely. Whatever it takes. And I need you to understand something. My career isn't separate from my life with you. It's part of who I am, part of what makes me happy. When you disregard that, it feels like you're disregarding me. I do understand that now, she says. And I'm sorry I didn't see it clearly before. Your work is important, and I respect that. I think I've been feeling left out, but that's something I should have talked to you about directly, not tried to manipulate the situation. It's a fair assessment, and her willingness to acknowledge it touches something in me. Maybe there is a way forward for us. I'm exhausted, I say, suddenly feeling the full weight of the travel, the emotional turmoil, all of it. Can we continue this tomorrow? Of course. She stands, hesitating for a moment. Are you hungry? I could make you something. The offer feels like an olive branch, small but sincere. Actually, I'm a bit hungry. Whatever's easy. She smiles, a tentative one that doesn't quite reach her eyes. I'll make you a sandwich. Go get cleaned up if you want. I nod and head to the bedroom, where I unpack my toiletries and change into more comfortable clothes. When I emerge, Clara has set a plate on the dining table, a sandwich, some fruit, a small bowl of chips. Simple but thoughtful, like so many of the daily kindnesses we exchange without really noticing. We eat in relative silence, the tension between us not gone, but somewhat diffused. After I finish, Clara clears the plate, and we move through our evening routine with cautious politeness. It's awkward, this careful dance around each other in the space we usually share so comfortably, but it's better than the alternative. As we prepare for bed, Clara pauses. Should I sleep on the couch? The question hangs between us. It would be a statement, sleeping separately, acknowledgement that things aren't okay between us. No, I say, you don't need to do that. We get into bed, maintaining a careful distance that feels both necessary and painfully artificial after 2 years of sleeping entangled. The silence stretches between us, broken only by the soft sounds of our breathing. Leo? Clara's voice is small in the darkness. Yes? I really am sorry for everything. I know, I say. And I do know. Whatever her mistakes, Whatever her misguided intentions, she never meant to hurt me. We'll figure it out. Good night, she whispers. Good night. I lie awake long after her breathing deepens into sleep, staring at the ceiling, thinking about trust and forgiveness and the complicated, messy business of loving someone. Eventually, I drift off, my last conscious thought a realization. Despite everything, I'm glad to be home. I wake to the smell of coffee and the sound of quiet movement in the kitchen. For a moment, I'm disoriented. The familiar ceiling above me a stark contrast to the hotel rooms of the past few days. Then the events of yesterday come rushing back. The flight, the conversation with Clara, the tentative, uncertain truce we'd reached before sleep. The space beside me in bed is empty, the sheets cool. Clara has been up for a while, then. I check my phone, 9:11 a.m. I've slept later than usual, the combination of jet lag and emotional exhaustion finally catching up with me. There are several text messages waiting. One from Liam asking how I'm doing, one from my mother expressing concern, and one from Anya wishing me luck with everything. I ignore them all for now, not ready to engage with anyone but Clara. I pull on a t-shirt and sweatpants and make my way to the kitchen, where I find her at the stove, making what appears to be pancakes. She turns when she hears me, offering a tentative smile. Good morning, she says. I thought you might be hungry when you woke up. Pancakes okay? Pancakes are great, I say, moving to the coffee maker and pouring myself a cup. Thank you. Did you sleep all right? Better than I expected, I admit. You? On and off. She flips a pancake, her movements careful and precise. I kept thinking about our conversation. Me too. At least before I fell asleep. We move around each other in the kitchen with a cautious awareness, like dancers learning a new routine. It's strange how a space that usually feels so comfortable, so much ours, can suddenly seem fraught with potential missteps. Clara plates the pancakes and sets them on the small kitchen table where we often eat breakfast together. She's added blueberries, my favorite, and there's real maple syrup, not the artificial kind we usually use to save money. This looks good, I say, sitting down. It's not much, but I wanted to, I don't know, do something nice. I appreciate it. We eat in silence for a few minutes. The only sounds the clink of forks against plates and the occasional sip of coffee. It's not a comfortable silence, but it's not unbearable either. I called in sick to work today, Clara says eventually. I thought we might need more time to talk. That's probably a good idea, I agree. I'm not due back until Monday anyway. She nods, pushing a blueberry around her plate with her fork. I've been thinking about what you said last night. About trust and respect and communication. You're right. This isn't just about a party gone wrong. It's about deeper issues. I've been thinking about what you said too, I tell her. About feeling like we've been drifting apart. About me being more excited about work than about us lately. There might be some truth to that. She looks up, surprised by my admission. Really? Really? I set down my fork, organizing my thoughts. I have been focused on work, on this presentation especially, but I didn't realize how it was affecting us. I thought you understood that it was temporary, that it was important to me, but not more important than you. I should have talked to you about how I was feeling, she says, instead of letting it build up and then trying to force a correction through this elaborate plan. And I should have been more aware of the signals you were sending. Looking back, I can see there were times you tried to connect, and I was distracted or dismissive. She reaches across the table, her hand stopping just short of mine. Can I ask you something? Of course. Are you happy? With me? With us? With your life here? The question catches me off guard. Yes, I say, but the slight pause before my answer is noticeable. You hesitated, she points out. Not because I'm not happy with you, I clarify quickly, but because happiness is complicated, isn't it? There are parts of my life I'm very happy with, parts I'm less satisfied with, parts I'm actively working to improve. And which category do I fall into? There's vulnerability in her question, a fear that makes my heart ache despite everything. You're in the very happy category, I say, reaching to take her hand. Always have been, even when I'm angry with you. She squeezes my hand, her eyes suspiciously bright. Even now? Even now. The tension in her shoulders eases slightly. So where do we go from here? It's the same question she asked last night, but somehow it feels different in the morning light, after sleep, after this small moment of reconnection over pancakes. I think we start by being honest with each other, I say. About everything. No more surprises, No more assumptions about what the other person wants or needs. We talk, really talk about what's working and what isn't. She nods. I'd like that. And I want you to know that I do respect your career, your ambitions. I'm proud of how hard you work, how good you are at what you do. I never meant to suggest otherwise. I know. And I want you to know that I value our life together more than any presentation or promotion. If I've been making you feel otherwise, that's on me, and I'll do better. We're still holding hands across the table, a physical connection that feels significant after the distance of the past few days. I missed you, she says quietly, while you were gone. Not just physically, but I missed us. The way we used to be, before things got complicated. I missed you too, I admit. Even when I was angry, I missed you. She smiles, a real one this time. Time that reaches her eyes. That's a good sign, right? That even in the middle of this mess, we still miss each other. I think so. I return her smile, feeling something tight in my chest begin to loosen. It means there's something worth fixing here. She stands, still holding my hand, and walks around the table to where I'm sitting. I turn to face her, and she steps between my knees, looking down at me with a mixture of hope and uncertainty. I love you, Leo. I loved you before I screwed everything up with this party, and I love you now. That hasn't changed. I reach up to touch her face, tracing the curve of her cheek with my thumb. I love you too. That hasn't changed either. She leans down, and I rise to meet her, our lips coming together in a kiss that feels like coming home. It's not a solution to all our problems, not a magic fix for the breach of trust and the hurt feelings, but it's a start. A reaffirmation of the connection that brought us together in the first place. When we pull apart, Clara rests her forehead against mine. We're going to be okay, aren't we? I think so, I say, and I mean it. It might take some time, but yes, I think we're going to be okay. She steps back, wiping away a tear with the back of her hand. Your pancakes are getting cold. Worth it, I say, pulling her back for another quick kiss before returning to my breakfast. We spend the rest of the day talking, really talking, in a way we haven't in months, about work and priorities, about communication and boundaries, about what we want from our relationship and from our lives. It's exhausting and exhilarating, painful at times, but ultimately healing. By evening, we've reached a new understanding. Not perfect, not completely resolved, but a foundation we can build on. We order takeout from our favorite Thai place and eat on the couch, watching a movie we've both been wanting to see, her head on my shoulder, my arm around her. It feels normal and yet new, familiar and yet precious in a way it wasn't before. Sometimes, I realize, you have to nearly lose something to truly appreciate its value. As the credits roll, Clara shifts to look up at me. I almost forgot. I saved you a piece of birthday cake. It's in the freezer. Do you want it? I laugh, surprised by the sudden reminder of what started all of this. Maybe tomorrow. I'm pretty full right now. She nods, settling back against me. Tomorrow works. Tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after that. We have time to figure this out, to rebuild what was damaged, to create something stronger than before. By the way, I say, I never did thank you properly for the party. Even if I couldn't be there, it was a thoughtful gesture. Next year, she promises, we'll do something you actually want. Whatever that is. Maybe Paris? I suggest. Together this time. She smiles. I'd like that. No surprises, though. No surprises. I agree, pressing a kiss to the top of her head. Just us. 6 months later. Are you ready? Clara calls from the bedroom. Our reservation is at 8, and you know how traffic is downtown on Friday nights. Almost. I reply, adjusting my tie in the bathroom mirror. Just trying to decide if this tie works with this shirt. She appears in the doorway, stunning in a deep green dress that brings out the flecks of gold in her eyes. Her hair is up, a few curls framing her face, and she's wearing the small diamond earrings I gave her for our anniversary last month. The tie is perfect, she says, stepping behind me and smoothing her hands over my shoulders. You look very handsome. Our eyes meet in the mirror, and I'm struck by how right this feels. The two of us getting ready for a night out, the easy intimacy of her touch, the warmth in her gaze. 6 months ago, I wasn't sure we'd make it to this point. But we did. We did the work. We talked, we listened, we adjusted. We went to couples therapy for a while, which helped us develop better communication strategies. We made promises and kept them. We rebuilt trust, one day at a time. You look beautiful, I tell her, turning to face her properly. That dress is amazing. She smiles, pleased. Thank you. I wanted tonight to be special. Tonight is dinner at Le Petit Paris, the French restaurant that opened downtown last month. It's been booked solid since opening night, but Clara managed to secure a reservation through a client of her event planning business. It already is special, I say, leaning down to kiss her. But I'm looking forward to trying this place. The reviews have been incredible. An authentic French cuisine might tide us over until our actual trip, she adds. Our trip to Paris is planned for next spring, a proper vacation together, no conferences, no work commitments, just the two of us exploring the city I barely saw during my brief visit. We've been saving for it, planning itineraries, practicing French phrases together. Nothing beats the real thing, I say, but this should be a nice preview. We gather our things and leave the apartment, taking the elevator down to the street where our Uber is already waiting. The driver navigates through Friday evening traffic while Clara and I chat about our respective weeks. Her successful fundraising gala for a local charity, my promising meeting with potential new clients from Singapore, the ones I met at the conference. The restaurant is as impressive as the reviews suggested, elegant without being stuffy, with subtle French decor and warm lighting that creates an intimate atmosphere. The hostess leads us to a corner table, slightly secluded from the main dining area. This is perfect, Clara says as we sit down. I requested a quiet table when I made the reservation. Good thinking. We order drinks, champagne for Clara, a bourbon for me, and study the menus. The waiter describes the specials with enthusiasm, clearly passionate about the food. We decide on escargots and a cheese plate to start, followed by coq au vin for Clara and steak frites for me. As we wait for our appetizers, Clara reaches across the table for my hand. Happy 6-month anniversary, she says. I raise an eyebrow. Anniversary of what? We've been together for 2.5 years. 6 months since Paris. Since the party disaster. Since we almost lost everything but decided to fight for us instead. She squeezes my hand. I think that deserves celebrating. The memory of those difficult days no longer carries the sting it once did. Time and honest communication have transformed it from an open wound to a healing scar, still visible but no longer painful to touch. To fighting for us, I say, raising my bourbon in a toast. She clinks her champagne flute against my glass. And to many more years together. We eat, we drink, we talk and laugh, enjoying each other's company in a way that feels both familiar and fresh. The food is excellent, the ambience perfect, but what makes the evening special is the connection between us, stronger now, perhaps, for having been tested. After dessert, a decadent chocolate soufflé we share, Clara excuses herself to the restroom. While she's gone, I check my phone and find a text from Liam. Did you ask her yet? I smile and type back, not yet. Soon. The small velvet box in my jacket pocket seems to grow heavier with anticipation. I'd confided in Liam last week, showing him the ring I'd chosen, a vintage-style emerald surrounded by small diamonds. He'd been surprisingly emotional, hugging me and saying something about being glad you didn't let her party nonsense ruin the best thing in your life. Clara returns, sliding gracefully back into her seat. This was such a lovely evening. Thank you for suggesting it. I'm pretty sure it was your idea, I remind her with a smile. Details, she says, waving a hand dismissively. The important thing is we're here together. Speaking of being together, I begin, my heart suddenly pounding. This wasn't exactly how I'd planned to do this. I had vague notions of a scenic overlook, or perhaps a quiet moment in our apartment with music playing. But suddenly, this moment feels right. There's something I want to ask you. Clara tilts her head slightly, curious. What is it? I take a deep breath, reaching across the table to take both her hands in mine. These past 6 months have taught me a lot about you, about me, about us. We've been through something difficult and come out stronger on the other side. Her eyes widen slightly as she begins to realize where this is heading. I've always loved you, Clara, but now I understand better what that love means. It's not just the easy times, the good moments. It's choosing each other every day, especially when things get complicated. I stand up and move to her side of the table, lowering myself to one knee beside her chair. A few nearby diners notice, nudging their companions and smiling in our direction. I don't want to waste any more time. I continue, releasing one of her hands to reach into my jacket pocket and pull out the small velvet box. I want to build a life with you, through all the surprises life throws our way, the good ones and the bad. Tears are welling in her eyes now, one hand pressed to her mouth. Clara Bennett, I say, opening the box to reveal the emerald ring. Will you marry me? She nods frantically, unable to speak for a moment. Then she manages to whisper, yes. Yes, of course I will. I slip the ring onto her finger, and she pulls me up into a kiss as the restaurant erupts in applause around us. When we finally break apart, both of us a little breathless, she holds up her hand to admire the ring. It's perfect, she says, the emerald catching the light. How did you know? I pay attention, I tell her with a smile. Even when you think I don't. She laughs, wiping away happy tears. I love you, Leo. So much. I love you too. The waiter appears with 2 glasses of champagne. Compliments of the house, he says with a smile. Congratulations. We accept the champagne, toasting to our future together. As we sip, Clara suddenly laughs. What? I ask. I was just thinking, this whole thing started with that surprise party. If I hadn't messed up so spectacularly, would we be here right now? It's a fair question. Would we have eventually addressed the issues in our relationship if they hadn't come to a head in such a dramatic way? Or would we have continued drifting, content on the surface but slowly growing apart? I think we would, I say after a moment. Maybe not tonight, maybe not exactly like this, but I think we would have found our way here eventually. I'm glad we didn't wait, she says, reaching across the table to take my hand again. Even if the journey was a little bumpy. Me too. I squeeze her hand. Though maybe next time you want to surprise me, just go with a cake and balloons. Less international intrigue. She laughs, the sound I've loved since the beginning. Deal. 1 year later. Are you sure we have everything? Clara asks, checking our passports for the 3rd time. Boarding passes? Hotel confirmation? The dinner reservation for tonight? All in the travel folder on my phone. I assure her, zipping up my carry-on. And backed up to your email, just in case. She nods, visibly relaxing. I know I'm being ridiculous. I just want everything to be perfect. It will be, I say, wrapping my arms around her from behind. We're going to Paris together. That's all that matters. We've been planning this trip for months. 2 weeks in France, starting with a week in Paris before venturing out to the countryside. It's our delayed honeymoon. We got married 3 months ago in a small ceremony with just family and close friends, followed by a reception at the art gallery where we had our first date. The wedding was perfect, intimate and meaningful, with personal vows we'd written together during one of our many heart-to-heart conversations over the past year. My mother cried happy tears this time. Liam behaved himself as best man, and Clara's sister gave a touching toast about love that grows stronger through challenges. Now, exactly 1 year after my ill-fated solo trip to Paris, we're finally going together. Our Uber should be here in 10 minutes, I say, checking my phone. Last chance to make sure we haven't forgotten anything. Clara does one final sweep of the apartment while I take our luggage to the door. When she joins me, she's carrying a small wrapped package. What's that? I ask. Your birthday present, she says with a smile. It's a couple days early, but I thought you might want it for the trip. I accept the package, surprised. I thought this trip was my birthday present. The trip is for both of us. This is just for you. I unwrap it carefully to find a leather-bound travel journal, my initials embossed in gold on the cover. Inside, Clara has written a note on the first page. Leo, for all our adventures together, past and future. May this one be the first of many. All my love, Clara. It's beautiful, I say, genuinely touched. Thank you. I thought you could use it to document our trip, she explains, and maybe sketch some of the architecture you've been wanting to see. I kiss her, grateful once again for how well she understands me, how she sees the parts of myself I sometimes forget to nurture. The Uber arrives, and we load our luggage, both buzzing with excitement as we head to the airport. Check-in and security are mercifully smooth, and soon we're settled at our gate, waiting to board. I got you something too, I tell her, pulling a small package from my backpack. Just a little pre-trip gift. She unwraps it eagerly to find a pair of wireless earbuds. You remembered. You've been complaining about your old ones for months, I say with a smile. These are supposed to be good for the plane, noise canceling. Perfect, she says, leaning over to kiss me. Now I can ignore the crying babies in peace. Or me, if I start snoring. That too. We board the plane without incident, settling into our seats with the practiced efficiency of people who have learned how to travel together harmoniously. Clara takes the window seat. She loves watching takeoff, while I take the aisle, easier for my longer legs. As the plane taxis to the runway, she reaches for my hand. Can you believe it's been a year? Sometimes it feels like yesterday, I admit. Other times it feels like a lifetime ago. We've come a long way, literally and figuratively. She laughs, squeezing my hand as the plane accelerates down the runway. I promise not to throw you any surprise parties while we're in Paris. Appreciated, I say with a grin. Though I might have one or two surprises planned for you. Her eyes light up. Really? What kind of surprises? If I told you, they wouldn't be surprises, would they? She pouts playfully, then leans her head on my shoulder as the plane lifts into the air. Fine, keep your secrets. But they better be good. They will be, I promise. Thinking of the dinner reservation I've made at a restaurant with a perfect view of the Eiffel Tower and the private boat tour along the Seine I've arranged for her birthday next week. You're not the only one who can plan something special. I've created a monster, she murmurs, but she's smiling. As the plane levels off and the seatbelt sign dims, I retrieve my new journal from my bag and open to the first blank page after Clara's note. At the top, I write, Paris, take 2. The version that matters. Clara peers over, reading what I've written. I like that, she says softly. Me too, I reply, putting an arm around her shoulders and pulling her close. Me too. The flight attendant comes by with the drink cart, offering us beverages. We both request champagne. A small celebration to start our journey to Paris, Clara says, raising her plastic cup. I counter, clinking my cup against hers. And to the surprises that brought us here. Even the ones that didn't go according to plan. She laughs, a sound that still makes my heart skip a beat after all this time. Especially those. Outside the window, the world stretches out below us. Clouds and glimpses of land and ocean. The vast expanse of possibility. Ahead lies Paris, the city of light and love, waiting for us to explore it together this time. I think it will be even better than I imagined.